Hello Year 6 and welcome to today's English lesson. Now, as I mentioned yesterday, over the next 2 weeks we are looking at explanation text and we're going to be writing our own explanation. So in order for us to write a good explanation text, we need to have a look at some. So that's what we're going to start to do today. So there are 4 or 5 explanation, I just did that doesn't really help us. 4 or 5 explanation texts that we're going to look at today. And what you're going to practice is answering some questions from them. Because if you can answer questions about them, then that shows me that you've read them carefully, it shows me that you understand them. Okay, so to help us do that, we're going to be inferring information, we're going to be retrieving information, and the best way for me to teach you how to do that, or remind you how to do this because it's something that we've done lots of already, is to go into my screen. So we'll go into my screen and then we'll come back to here so that I can show you what it is that we're doing. Here we go. So we are looking at inferring and retrieving information, also a bit of vocab stuff really. So this is the success criteria that we need to look at as we come to these. So we need to identify the keywords in the questions. We need to find those keywords or some synonyms in the text. We need to read around those keywords. Then we need to use the information to answer the question, and importantly, write in full sentences that write in a full sentence that explains what the question was. Okay, so I'm going to just quickly run through a couple of ideas of this. Won't be long. I'm aiming for like a 6-minute video. So, often people will say read the whole text first. I always like to say read the questions, okay, because you can often find out what you need to do. So, what other word could the author have used instead of eject, which is worth 2 marks? And as I'm kind of going through, I'm going to pick out the keyword. So eject is definitely the keyword in that little bit. Then I need to think, how is an explosive eruption, that's going to be important, different than an effusive eruption? Okay, they're the keywords on that. And then are volcanic eruptions rare? So that's going to be talking about like how often. Now once I've read those 3, I'm then going to go into the text, okay? So I think it's an idea to read it. Volcanoes are like openings in the Earth's surface. All volcanoes can eject. Oh, hang on, I remember eject being a key word, okay? Can eject lava, rocks, gas or ash, which can cover the surrounding land. Now, if I just look at this first question then. So this is the important bit. So I've identified the keyword. I've found the keywords in the text. I've read around it. All volcanoes can eject lava, rocks, gas or ash, which can, I shouldn't say that, lava, rocks, gas or ash, which can cover the surrounding land. When this happens, it's called a volcanic eruption. So what other word could the author have used instead of eject? Now this is worth 2 marks, so I can't just come up with a word. Now when I'm writing this, I need to write the question in a full sentence. So another word that the author could have used instead of eject is, and then we need to come up with a word. So it's all volcanoes can eject large lava. It's almost like they're throwing them out, isn't it? Suggest another word. Throw out could be one, or just say one word. I'm going to go with throw out. Let's change the question. Another word or phrase. So throw out, another word that the author could have used instead of eject is throw out, because, and I'm doing this because it's a 2 marker, because the lava, etc., quickly leave the volcano. Okay, now that's not an amazing answer. Like I always say, a good teacher would probably have thought about this a bit more carefully before they write it. I'm not one of those. But I've made my point, which is I think throw out, and then I've given a quick explanation for it. Right, let's go back to the text. How is an explosive eruption different than an effusive eruption? So I need to scan the text and try and find this where it talks about effusive and explosive. There are 5 main parts of a volcano. Okay, I don't think it's there. The magma chamber is a large space. Yeah. Just before an eruption, the magma chamber is filled with molten rock. Magma bubbles. This leads to volcano erupting. There's a gas bubbles in the... There are 2 main types of eruptions. Here we go. Okay. there are two main types of eruptions: explosive eruptions and effusive eruptions. Now that doesn't tell me what the difference is yet, so I need to look at that. An explosive eruption is when the volcanic magma is ejected from the crater violently and dramatically. By contrast, in an effusive eruption, the lava gradually oozes out of the crater. So, if I'm answering that question, it was all down here, wasn't it? It's this little bit. That's between here and here. So how is an explosive eruption different than an effusive eruption? I'm answering in full sentences, so I'm going to say, in an explosive eruption, volcanic material is ejected violently and dramatically, but in an effusive eruption, it oozes out gradually. Full sentence, answer's very clear, job done. Okay, last question. Are volcanic eruptions rare? Now I know that so far in the text, there's been no mention of that. So I'll keep going. The type of eruption is determined by that of gas. All volcanic eruptions cause significant changes. As the lava cools, it solidifies and becomes an such as bauxite and granite. Volcano eruptions are part of the natural, continual process called the rock cycle. Eruptions occur daily around the world. So if they're happening daily, are they rare? If it happens every day, no. And it's constantly, okay? So it's worth 2 marks, so I need to put in both of those, okay? So I'm going to say volcanic eruptions are not rare because they happen daily around the world and new rock is being constantly formed. If something's constant, then it's not rare, is it? And there are my 3 answers to this text. Now, your task for today. So on the information sheet, which looks like this, it kind of says if you've not watched it, make sure you watch it. Then it's got the success criteria and a bit of explanation. But there were like 4 explanation texts. So you can see this is ready part 1. So there's 5 questions to ask about this text. Ready part 1, if you're doing that, you also need to do ready part 2. And there's 4 questions to do about this. That's why it starts at question 6, because you've got the first 5 and then 6. And then, so there's ready, or if you want a more difficult text, more difficult questions, there's steady. So there's 5 questions about these cyclones, and then there's 4 questions about this moth explanation. Okay, so you need to choose which of those is going to offer you the right amount of challenge. Right, let's go back to my face just for like 1 minute while we finish off to explaining what we do. Okay. I think you now know everything you need to be able to do. Like I say, choose either ready or steady. There isn't a go today. Each one's split into 2 parts, and importantly, I want to see your answers in full sentences, okay? Don't just write like 1 or 2 word answers. I should know what the question was from the sentence that you've written, okay? And as always, my voice it's a bit emotional. I look forward to seeing you work year 6. Goodbye. Goodbye.